Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a classic,
Yeah.
The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason.
Yeah, this one, it's recommended all the time for good reason, I think.
It is, yeah. It just seems like it's packed with financial wisdom.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this stuff has stood the test of time.
It really has. It's amazing how relevant these ancient Babylonian parables still are in our world today.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of things that can help you stick with your goals and stay motivated, I've got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Affirmifyjourney.com.
Yes.
If you're looking for an extra dose of motivation, they've got these personalized zodiac affirmations. They might just give you that edge you need.
They just might.
Okay, so back to ancient Babylon and the
Yes.
secrets to building wealth. So, I mean, we all know the book is set in, well, obviously ancient Babylon. But what was it about that place and time that made Clason choose it as, the backdrop for his financial lessons?
Well, just think about it, right? Ancient Babylon was like the New York City of its time.
Oh, wow.
It was this bustling hub of commerce and trade. And what's so fascinating is they had really sophisticated financial systems, even way back then. We're talking promissory notes, property titles, even early forms of money.
So they weren't just like, bartering sheep and grain.
No, not at all. I mean, their financial instruments were surprisingly advanced. And if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture, you can see how these ancient Babylonian concepts really laid the groundwork for, well, the financial systems we use today. I mean, like, take those promissory notes, for example. They were basically early versions of IOUs, which kind of like paved the way for our modern credit system.
Oh, that is incredible. It's like we're looking through this like financial time machine. So, I mean, by setting his book in Babylon, Clason is kind of suggesting that the fundamentals of building wealth haven't really changed much at all, right?
Exactly. Human nature and the principles of wealth creation, they've remained remarkably consistent across millennia.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those principles, get into the nitty-gritty here. One of the, I guess you could say, core elements of The Richest Man in Babylon is this idea of the 7 cures for a lean purse.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's giving us a prescription for financial health.
I love that analogy. And you know what? I think one of the most powerful, cures that he offers, especially for us today, is to control thy expenditures. Think about it, right? We live in a world of, just constant targeted advertising. It's instant gratification. Online shopping is everywhere. It's never been easier to spend money.
Real. I mean, oh my goodness, my online shopping cart. It's like it's a bottomless pit these days.
Right. So Clausen's advice to, really distinguish between your needs and your wants, it's more relevant, I think, now than ever. And he uses this really vivid imagery of Babylon's strong walls, to represent financial security. So it's about building those metaphorical walls around your finances to protect yourself from, impulsive spending.
That's such a vivid image. It makes me think about those modern budgeting apps. They kind of act like those walls, helping you track your spending and stay within your limits.
Absolutely. It's like taking an ancient principle and giving it that 21st century upgrade.
Now, I'm curious about something. Clason also talks about making thy dwelling a profitable investment. I mean, do you think that advice still holds up today, in this crazy housing market that we're in?
That is a great question. I think it requires a really nuanced perspective, honestly. So while homeownership has always been seen as like the symbol of stability and wealth, it's not always a straightforward path, especially with rising interest rates and these crazy property values.
Right. I mean, I'm still sitting here trying to figure out how to even save for a down payment.
Of course. And that's exactly where the book's emphasis on saving really comes in. You remember Clason's first cure, right? Start thy purse to fattening. It means consistently setting aside at the very least 10% of your earnings. Like, just imagine if you could automate that. Have a portion of each paycheck automatically going straight into your savings account.
That is actually brilliant. It just takes all the decision-making out of it.
Exactly. It's like having your own personal pay-yourself-first system, just like those ancient Babylonians who were diligently setting aside that portion of their earnings.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So we've got our metaphorical walls up. We're automating our savings. What's next? What's next on Clason's, prescription for financial health?
Well, he then advises us to make thy gold multiply. In other words, put those savings to work, invest wisely.
Okay, but investing can feel so intimidating. Where do you even begin?
That's where Clason's fourth cure comes in. Guard thy treasures from loss. He warns against risky ventures. He emphasizes the importance of seeking out sound advice. In today's world, that could mean diversifying your investments. It could mean doing your due diligence, really researching. And it could even mean consulting with a financial advisor.
So it's not about stuffing all your gold, so to speak, under a mattress. It's about finding the right opportunities to make it grow safely and, strategically.
Precisely. And that's where the book's emphasis on learning and seeking knowledge comes in. Clayson's seventh cure is increase thy ability to earn. And it's not just about, working harder. It's about expanding your skills, seeking out mentors, and really becoming more valuable in the marketplace.
So it's not just about managing money. It's about managing yourself and your career, too. I like that.
It's a holistic approach to creating wealth. And, even back in ancient Babylon, they understood the importance of continuous learning. You think about those scribes who were meticulously documenting those financial transactions on those clay tablets. They were like the knowledge keepers of their time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like those scribes were the ancient Babylonian version of like today's financial bloggers and podcasters, right?
Exactly. They played this crucial role in spreading financial knowledge and helping people make informed decisions. And that kind of brings us to another key element of The Richest Man in Babylon, which is, the 5 laws of gold.
Ah, yes. The golden rules, for handling wealth responsibly. So what are they? And,
Yeah.
more importantly, how do they apply to us today?
Well, okay, so the first law is that gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. And it just reinforces that saving consistently is the foundation of creating wealth.
So we're back to that, pay yourself first principle.
Yeah.
That seems to be like a recurring theme throughout the book.
It absolutely is. It's the foundation upon which all the other financial principles are built. And then the second law, it states that gold labors diligently for the wise owner who finds profitable employment for it.
So it's like once you've got those savings, it's time to, put your money to work.
Precisely. And that leads us to the third law, which cautions us about seeking out expert advice before investing. It says, gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. And it's about recognizing that we don't have to figure everything out on our own. There are experts out there who can guide us.
And that's especially true, I think, in today's world, this complex financial world that we live in.
Absolutely. There are so many investment options and strategies out there. It can be incredibly overwhelming to try and navigate it all on your own.
Okay, so let's say I've, saved up some money, I've consulted with an advisor, I'm ready to start investing. What else should I keep in mind?
Well, that's where the fourth law comes in. It says, gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. In other words, don't invest in things you don't understand.
Yeah, right. It's so easy to get caught up in the hype, especially with all those, investment trends we see on social media.
Exactly. It's absolutely crucial to do your research, understand the risks that are involved, and really only invest in areas where you feel comfortable, and knowledgeable. And finally, we have the fifth law. This one cautions against, get-rich-quick schemes, those emotional decisions. It says, gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. This is such an important reminder to be patient, be disciplined, and avoid chasing those, unrealistic returns.
Oh, yeah. It's like that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. There are absolutely no shortcuts when it comes to wealth creation. It requires patience, it requires persistence, and really a commitment to sound financial principles.
So those are the 5 laws of gold, a timeless guide to handling wealth responsibly and effectively. But what really brings these principles to life are the stories in The Richest Man in Babylon.
Absolutely. Clason doesn't just lecture us, he engages us with these captivating parables. They really illustrate the power of these principles in action.
And one of the most memorable stories is about, this camel trader who escaped slavery and rebuilds his life through, hard work and making those smart financial choices.
Yes, the story of Dabis here. It's just this powerful example of how anyone, regardless of their starting point, can achieve financial freedom by embracing the principles in this book. He begins with absolutely nothing but, this burning desire to repay his debts and rebuild his life.
It's so inspiring. It shows us that it's never too late to turn things around.
And, throughout his journey, he seeks guidance from wise mentors, just like all the other characters in the book.
Yeah, it highlights how we don't have to do everything alone. There's so much wisdom in asking for help and learning from others who have already, walk the path.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that's as valuable today as it was back in ancient Babylon.
Now, there's another, I think, really powerful chapter I want to talk about, the walls of Babylon. It's just such a brilliant analogy for financial security.
Yes. Clason compares those impenetrable city walls, to the financial safeguards that we need to build in our own lives.
So it's like we're creating a fortress around our finances, protecting ourselves from any unexpected storms that might come our way.
He talks about insurance, having savings accounts, dependable investments. Those are our modern day walls.
And he makes it really clear that those walls, they're essential. We can't afford to be without them.
It's about having that peace of mind, that sense of security, knowing you've taken those steps to protect your financial future.
So before we move on to some of the other chapters, let's just take a moment to, reflect on what we've talked about so far.
It's a lot to take in, right? But, the core message is clear. Building wealth is a process that requires discipline. It requires patience and a willingness to learn and grow.
And it's not just about accumulating money, it's about cultivating a healthy relationship with wealth and using it wisely to create a really fulfilling, meaningful life.
Exactly. And that's a message that transcends time and culture.
Okay, so we've covered some, I guess you could say, the foundational principles. Are you ready to delve into a few more of Clason's insightful parables?
Absolutely. I'm really intrigued by the chapter, The Camel Trader of Babylon. It focuses on the consequences of those poor financial choices, but also the power of taking responsibility.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me more.
It follows the story of Dabis. So it follows the story of Dabis, who he starts off as like this really successful charioteer, but, he makes some, I guess you could say, less than ideal financial decisions. He ends up in debt and actually eventually becomes a slave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like a real cautionary tale, what leads to his, downfall.
Well, Dabis, he makes a bunch of impulsive decisions. He gets caught up in this like sure thing investment opportunity, right? And he doesn't really do his due diligence. He doesn't really research it properly, and he ends up losing everything.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's a classic case of like falling prey to those tricksters and schemers like Clason warned us about in the Fifth Law of Gold.
So it's a reminder to, be wary of those schemes that promise those impossible returns. Like, if it sounds too good to be true.
Exactly. But, the story, it doesn't actually end there. What's really fascinating is that Dabis eventually has this like moment of self-reflection. He realizes, okay, I messed up. And he makes this commitment to repay all of his debts and, rebuild his life.
Okay, so it's a story of redemption too then.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It highlights how even when we, stumble, it's never too late to turn things around.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. We've all, made some financial missteps here and there.
Oh, of course. We're all human. But what's important is that, we learn from those mistakes and use those as opportunities to grow. And Dabisir's story shows that, yeah, you can overcome even like the toughest financial situations.
Now, there's another chapter I wanted to touch on that I feel like is like especially relevant for a lot of people today. The clay tablets from Babylon. This is like almost a step-by-step guide to like getting out of debt.
It's one of the most practical chapters for sure. It outlines this really, it's a simple plan, but it's effective. It's a 3-part plan for like managing your money. So it's basically save 10%, live on 70%, and then use the remaining 20% to pay off your debts.
And it's interesting, right? I mean, this plan, it was written thousands of years ago, but it still really aligns with modern debt management strategies.
It really does. It's a testament to just how timeless these principles are. And if we, sort of connect this to the world today, you can see parallels with, some popular budgeting methods. I mean, like the 50-30-20 rule, right? That allocates 50% of your income to your needs, 30% to, your wants, and then 20% to savings and debt repayment.
It's really cool to see how these like ancient ideas have evolved and adapted to our modern financial landscape.
Yeah, it's proof that really those fundamentals of, sound money management, they're constant. They don't really change.
Okay, so we've explored, some of the, I guess you could say, darker sides of like financial mismanagement. But, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about success. There's a chapter called The Luckiest Man in Babylon, which, I think focuses on a very different perspective.
Yeah, The Luckiest Man in Babylon. This chapter really challenges that whole idea that wealth is, purely based on luck. It tells the story of Sharunada, this like really wealthy merchant who attributes all of his success, not to luck, but to, hard work, perseverance, and just this willingness to learn and adapt.
So it's really about creating your own opportunities and not just, hoping that you were born with a silver spoon.
Exactly. And he really emphasizes that, true wealth, it's not just about money. It's about having that strong work ethic. It's about being a person of integrity and, contributing to your community.
So it's a much more holistic view of success.
Yeah, I think so. He takes his partner's grandson, Hadan Gula, under his wing and teaches him, like, look, real wealth, it comes from effort, it comes from discipline, and, this desire to actually have a positive impact on the world around you. It's a powerful reminder that success, it's not, a destination, it's a journey.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's about, finding fulfillment in that process of building something meaningful and not just chasing, riches.
Right. And this idea of mentorship too, right? Of like passing down wisdom from one generation to the next. It's another recurring theme in the book. Like those Babylonian scribes we were talking about earlier, they were preserving and sharing knowledge to benefit, future generations.
Yeah, it's like we're all part of this larger story,
Hmm.
and our actions and choices have this, ripple effect that can impact those who come after us.
It's something to really think about, right? What kind of legacy do we want to leave? What kind of financial wisdom can we pass down to, our children and grandchildren?
Those are some big questions, but really important ones to consider.
Absolutely. And The Richest Man in Babylon, I think, it gives us this framework for, thinking about those questions. How can we make choices that will lead to that lasting prosperity, not just for ourselves, but for, those generations that come after us?
So we've, covered quite a bit of ground, but I kind of want to bring it back to our listeners for a second. I mean, what does all this, like, ancient Babylonian wisdom, what does it really mean for us today?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's a reminder that the principles of wealth creation, they're timeless, they're universal. So it doesn't matter if you're, a charioteer in ancient Babylon or, you're a freelancer in the 21st century, the same fundamentals apply. Save consistently, invest wisely, seek out good advice, and steer clear of those get-rich-quick schemes.
And it's also, I think, recognizing that wealth, it can be used as a tool to create this better life. I mean, not just for ourselves, but for those around us as well.
Yeah, it's not just about accumulating money. It's about using it wisely to achieve those goals, to support your loved ones, and to really just have that positive impact on the world.
And it's about creating a healthy relationship with money.
Mm.
Understanding that it's a resource that needs to be managed, but not, feared or worshipped.
Right. It's about finding that balance, between enjoying the fruits of your labor, but also, investing for the future. And it's about being mindful of your spending habits, making those choices that really align with your values.
One of the things that really stuck with me in the book was Clason's emphasis on self-reliance, and taking personal responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. He really stresses that individuals have the power to, take control of their financial well-being. It's about taking ownership of your situation, making smart choices, and not just, relying on luck or, external factors.
Right. And he really, he doesn't shy away from, showing the consequences of making those poor financial decisions like we saw with, the Dabis story.
Yeah. It's a reminder to be, mindful of our spending, to avoid that unnecessary debt, and just really make saving and investing a priority.
It's about, building that solid financial foundation so you're not so vulnerable to those, like, unexpected setbacks that life throws your way.
Exactly. And speaking of building that solid foundation, I think it's important to acknowledge that everyone's financial journey, it's unique.
Like, absolutely.
Right. We all have different starting points. We all have different goals and challenges that we're facing.
And so what works for one person, it may not necessarily work for another.
Right. Exactly. That's why it's so crucial to really personalize these principles and, like, fit them to your own circumstances and your own aspirations.
So it's about, figuring out what works for you, creating your own plan that aligns with your values and goals.
Yeah. And remember, it's a journey. It's not a destination. There are going to be ups and downs along the way.
Oh, yeah, there will be.
But, by embracing these principles we've talked about today and just staying committed to your financial well-being, we can all achieve that success that we desire.
Now, something else that Clason talks about that I really liked was, he doesn't just focus on, like, just the material side of wealth.
Yeah.
He also emphasizes, like, work-life balance and, finding fulfillment in what you do.
Yeah. He actually, specifically says that work It shouldn't feel like this burden. It should be something that you enjoy, something you can take pride in.
Right. It's about finding a balance,
Right.
right, between, earning a living, but also like living a life.
Right, exactly.
And, that can be hard sometimes, especially in today's, fast-paced world that we live in.
It's easy to get, caught up in that hustle and forget to just, enjoy the moment, enjoy the present.
So it's a reminder, right, to be intentional with your time and your energy and make sure that, you're not just working to live, but you're living to work.
Exactly. It's about creating a life that's, both financially secure but also personally fulfilling.
We've talked a lot about the practical side of like, managing your finances. But one of the things that really sets, I think, The Richest Man in Babylon, apart from other books, is that it focuses on, that mental and emotional aspect of wealth as well.
Absolutely. Lyson really delves into the importance of having like that positive mindset,
Right.
believing in yourself, cultivating a sense of abundance.
Yeah, he emphasizes that like the thoughts we have and our beliefs about money, they can really like help or hinder us on our journey, to financial, success.
Yeah. If you believe that wealth is like, scarce or that you're not like worthy of having it, you're likely to like sabotage yourself. But if you believe that, there's abundance out there and that you have the power to create it, you're more likely to, attract wealth and prosperity into your life.
It's like that law of attraction, but applied to, finances.
Exactly. Our thoughts, they really do create our reality. So it's so important to cultivate those positive thoughts, those empowering beliefs about money.
So it's not just about managing your, bank accounts, but it's about managing your mindset too.
Right. Exactly. And that's, a really powerful message that I think resonates with a lot of people.
Okay. Now we've touched on a few of the, key chapters in The Richest Man in Babylon,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to like circle back to one that I think is like central to Clason's message, which is, the 5 laws of gold.
Yeah, those 5 laws, they really are like the foundation of financial success. They're simple, but they're so profound in their wisdom.
And they're incredibly relevant today, even though, they were written almost a century ago.
I know, right?
Okay, so the first law, as we mentioned earlier, is to pay yourself first. Set aside at least 10% of your income before you pay anyone else.
Right. It's about making saving a non-negotiable.
Yep. And the second law is to make your gold multiply. So invest your savings wisely so it grows and, it generates passive income for you.
Put your money to work. Don't just let it sit there.
The third law is to seek wise counsel. So don't be afraid to ask for help from those who have, more experience.
Yeah. Get advice. Don't be afraid to reach out.
The fourth law is to invest in what you understand. So don't put your money into ventures or schemes that you don't really get or that you haven't researched thoroughly.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your circle of competence. Don't go chasing things you don't understand.
And the fifth and final law is to avoid the lure of those impossible earnings. So don't fall for those get-rich-quick schemes,
Right. Be patient. It takes discipline, Invest for the long term. Slow and steady.
Now, those 5 laws, they're easy to understand.
Yeah.
But to actually put them into practice consistently, that can be tough.
It can be a challenge for sure.
It requires, commitment. It requires effort.
It does, yeah.
But I think the rewards are, they're worth it. By following those principles, you can create a life, of abundance, security, just like those savvy Babylonians we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I appreciate about The Richest Man in Babylon is that it's not like just a theoretical book on finance. It's filled with practical advice, actionable things you can do.
Yeah, like Clason, he actually gives us specific strategies like, for getting out of debt. Like Dabis' really meticulous plan on the clay tablets.
Yeah, exactly. He also talks about like how to invest wisely. He emphasizes the importance of diversifying, doing your research, and getting that expert advice,
And, building good habits like, tracking your spending, creating a budget, and even automating your savings.
It's about taking a proactive approach.
Right.
Not letting money manage you, but like you managing your money.
Exactly. You're in control. You're making intentional decisions that really, support your long-term goals.
And it's about recognizing that those small, consistent actions, they can really add up to big results over time.
It's just like those ancient Babylonians who built their wealth, one brick at a time. We can create our own financial foundation. That's solid foundation through discipline and, perseverance.
Now, another theme that pops up in the book is this, like power of persistence and determination. Clason shows us that even when you face those setbacks, you make mistakes. It's so important to never give up on your financial goals.
Yeah. Davisier's whole journey, from slavery to wealth, it really is a testament to that. He didn't let his past mistakes define him. He chose to learn from them, and he created a better future.
It's a really powerful reminder that, no matter where you start, we all have the potential to achieve financial success if we just put in the effort and, stay focused on those goals.
Absolutely. And speaking of commitment, I think one of the most common challenges people face when it comes to money is procrastination.
Ugh, procrastination. It's the worst.
I know. It really is the ultimate financial saboteur.
It really is.
It's so easy to just put things off. Like, oh, I'll start saving later. I'll create a budget later when I have more time or more money.
I'll invest later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Clason, he reminds us procrastination is the thief of opportunity.
Right. It's true. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to actually achieve your goals.
So that's why it's so important to, overcome that procrastination and just, take action now, today.
Yeah. Even if it's something small, like set up an automatic transfer into a savings account or just, spend some time researching different investment options.
We'll do something. Get the ball rolling.
Exactly. Momentum is everything when it comes to building wealth. Once you start and you see that progress, it becomes a lot easier to, stay motivated and keep going.
Now, another challenge, I think, that often holds people back is fear.
Oh, yeah. Fear.
Right. Fear of failure, fear of taking risks, fear of the unknown.
Fear of making mistakes.
Yeah. And those fears, they can really paralyze us.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what, Clason, he addresses that directly.
Yeah.
He actually, encourages us to face our fears, embrace the uncertainty that comes with, investing or maybe even starting a business.
Yeah. He reminds us that every successful person out there, they've faced challenges and they've faced setbacks. Everyone's got to go through that.
It's not about avoiding risk completely. It's about managing risk in a smart way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about not letting fear, hold us back from going after what we want.
And that's a message that I think it goes far beyond just, finances. That's a life lesson.
It really is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to, step outside of your comfort zone and take a chance.
Absolutely. And The Richest Man in Babylon really gives us a great framework for, doing that in a way that's both prudent, but also, empowering.
Now, one thing that really stood out to me was Clason's emphasis on generosity and,
Yeah.
Giving back.
Oh, yeah. He really believed that true wealth is not just about how much money you have. It's about, using the resources you have to have a positive impact on the world.
Yeah. He encourages us to be charitable, support causes that we care about, and, help those in need.
He reminds us that, the more you give, the more you receive.
It's about creating a cycle, right?
Yeah.
A cycle of abundance, a cycle of prosperity that benefits not only ourselves, but also, our communities and the world around us.
And, it's about recognizing that, true wealth, it's more than just, stuff, right? Material possessions. It's about living a life that has purpose, living a meaningful life, and using our resources to really make a difference.
So for those who are, new to personal finance or maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed by it, what advice would you offer based on what we've kind of learned from The Richest Man in Babylon?
Well, I would say, start with those 7 cures for a lean purse. They provide that roadmap, right, for building that solid financial foundation.
Yeah. And you don't have to, tackle everything all at once.
Oh, no. Start small. Maybe it's setting aside just a small amount each week. Even like $5, $10 into a savings account.
Or, maybe create a very simple budget, to track your spending.
Make sure you have, enough insurance, to protect yourself and your family.
And, you could also consider talking to a financial advisor, get some personalized guidance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They can be so helpful.
But most importantly, I think you need to cultivate that, positive and empowering mindset toward money. Believe that abundance is possible. Believe that you have the power to create the financial future that you want.
I love that.
The Richest Man in Babylon. It's more than just a book about, managing your money. It's about a guide to living a life that has purpose, that has meaning, and, a life of, financial well-being.
Yeah. And it's a reminder that true wealth, it goes beyond just those material possessions.
It's about having those strong relationships, having good health, having peace of mind, and having the freedom to do what you love.
It really is. It's about living a life that is rich in every sense of the word.
And it all starts with taking that first step.
So if you're ready to, you know, start your journey toward financial freedom, I definitely recommend checking out The Richest Man in Babylon.
Pick up a copy. Read it. It's a timeless classic. Honestly, it has the power to change your life. And as we, continue this journey into the world of finance and personal growth, knowledge is power.
It really is. The more you learn, the more you grow, and the more you can achieve.
And that brings me to a fantastic resource that I wanted to share with everyone today. Have you ever heard of lingopediamagazine.com?
Oh, yeah. I've heard great things about them.
Yeah, they offer all sorts of, online courses and ebooks. They've got topics like personal finance, business, self-improvement. It's just like a really great way to keep learning and keep growing.
Yeah, it's like having, this whole library of wisdom right at your fingertips.
Exactly. And remember, investing in yourself, it's always a smart move. But before you rush off to check out Lingopedia, I want to emphasize one last but super important thing, and that's the power of action.
Yes. Reading The Richest Man in Babylon is a great start, but the magic really happens when you take what you've learned, and you put it into practice.
Yeah, it's about taking action
Mhm.
and making those small, consistent changes, those little things that, add up to big results over time.
So what's one action step that you can take today? What's one thing you can do right now to improve your financial well-being?
Maybe it's setting up that automatic savings plan. Maybe it's making that budget. Or, even just researching investment options.
Whatever it is, just commit to doing it today.
Don't let procrastination steal your financial dreams.
And remember, we're here to support you. We'll keep sharing more insights and resources in the future to help you achieve financial freedom and live that life of abundance.
But for now, we encourage you to read The Richest Man in Babylon yourself. See how this timeless wisdom can apply to your own life.
You might be surprised what you can learn from those ancient Babylonians.
And speaking of learning, don't forget to, subscribe,
Yes,
share,
Cyril.
and like this deep dive.
It really does help us reach more people who, want to learn about this stuff and, grow.
We love hearing from you too.
Oh, absolutely.
So leave us a comment below. Let us know what really resonated with you from The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah. Or what financial challenges are you facing right now?
We're all in this together.
We are.
And I think we can learn so much from, each other's experiences.
Absolutely. It's a journey, right? The journey to, financial well-being. It's a marathon.
Yeah. It's not a sprint.
No, it's definitely not a sprint.
There are going to be, ups and downs along the way.
There will be.
But by embracing the, principles that we talked about today and just staying committed to those goals.
It'll get there.
Yeah. We can all achieve the financial success that we're looking for.
Absolutely.
And, who knows?
Wow.
Maybe someday you'll be the one, sharing your wisdom.
Yeah.
And inspiring others on their own financial journey.
Pay it forward.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with like a final provocative thought.
Okay. Hit me.
So throughout the book, Clason emphasizes that, gold or wealth, it comes to those who save consistently.
Right. That 10% rule.
Yes. But what if we took that principle and applied it to other areas of our lives?
Ooh, okay. What do you think?
Well, what if we, committed to investing 10% of our time in personal growth and development?
I like that.
Or, 10% of our energy in like nurturing our relationships.
Ooh, that's good. Or pursuing like a passion project.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true wealth, it goes so much deeper than just money.
It does.
It's about investing in yourself.
Yeah.
It's about investing in your relationships, in your community.
Yeah. Creating a life that is truly rich and fulfilling in every sense.
Yes. So I challenge you, our listeners, to think about how you might apply that 10% principle, beyond your finances.
Yeah, think about that.
What areas of your life could benefit from a little extra investment?
What small, consistent actions can you take today to really create a richer, more meaningful, fulfilling life?
That's something to, ponder as you go about your week.
Food for thought.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yes, thank you. It's been a pleasure exploring these, timeless principles with you.
And remember, if you're looking for even more resources to support you on your journey, check out lingopediamagazine.com.
Yes, they have a ton of great online courses and ebooks.
Great way to continue expanding your knowledge.
Keep learning.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to create that life of abundance and prosperity.
We'll see you next time.